So when I hit mute, do I call in for report or what?
No, you're fine, Mr. Staten. Just unmute when you're not speaking. You have
Uh,
to unmute yourself when they call your name for roll call and
I
vote.
got it. I got it.
Just unmute yourself,
I got it. Thank
but
you,
keep
sweetheart.
yourself muted. Keep yourself muted until
I
they call
will
your name.
until they call me or
Yeah,
for roll call.
right.
I
Or
got it.
vote. And if you
Thank you.
have a question, you can type it in the Q&A on the
Thank you.
right-hand side.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. This is Reverend Eddie Karim. I'm coming in for Assemblywoman Latrice Walker. Usually, our staff member Nadine Gale is usually on the line to represent the office, but she's not able to be on today. So I will be representing the office.
Thank you.
Is anybody else on yet? Is anyone on the call? Hello?
Hello? Mr. Staten, if you,
Yes, you're on the Community Board 8 meeting. There are 30 people on. We haven't gotten
Thank
started
you.
yet.
we
Thank
don't
you.
have a quorum. How you doing, Miss Clark? How you doing? Miss Granville? You hear Miss Granville? Thank you.
Somebody is talking again. So you're already in, Gil. Did you hear that? And somebody said they didn't have a quorum, but we're on. They didn't do roll call yet, so how do they know? They said 20-something.
6:15 yet. Another minute, it's gonna start at 6:15.
Another minute. Oh, yeah.
6:15, it starts at 6:15.
Geraldine Buchanan.
So, Gail, can you tell if you're muted? Now, it says mute up here. Does that mean you're muted?
Good evening, everyone.
Evening, how you doing?
Good evening. You all here.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
I hear you and I see you too.
Can you hear me? Can someone just
Yes.
wave? Okay, I see a finger. I see a thumb. Thank you, Ms. Collins. Well, just welcome everybody to Community Board 8 board meeting. This is the first for the season. I welcome you all. My name is Yrsa Weatherspoon. Oops, I think my face, now we can see me. My name is Yrsa Weatherspoon. I am your new chair, and I'm just really excited to be of service, and I'm just looking forward to accomplishing some great things with you all. I want to thank our staff in the district office, District Manager Michelle George, and Community Liaison Julia Neal for all their hard work. So although we are ending second summer of COVID, I really hope that you had the opportunity to really enjoy it and look to brighter things. All right, on that note, we have some very special guests from the NYU School of Journalism. We have some students and they're here with us to observe only. So students, welcome. And if you have any questions, please forward them to the district office. So take this opportunity to glean from this experience, and you're welcome to come again. Okay, so I want to formally call the meeting to order and ask for a roll call, please. Thank you.
Okay, everyone, I apologize in advance. I do have birds, and to keep them as calm as possible, I have to keep them distracted with some stuff in the background. So there is music and TV on for them, but you will still hear them. So anyone whose name is not being responded to, please do mute yourselves so that I can hear the responses. Kirmani Allison. Glinda Andrews.
Present.
Desmond Atkins. Lisa Atkinson. Miss Atkinson, did you respond? Princess Ben James. Julia Boyd.
I see Princess has joined us though. Princess is on the call. She's here.
Okay, thank you. Gail Branch Muhammad.
Here.
Jerry Buchanan.
Here.
John Buckholz. Nora Daniel.
Here.
Aisha Dotson. Diane Duke. Kevin Farley. Andrea Ferris. Fred Frazier. Drew Gabriel.
Good evening, everybody. Here.
Tamika Gibbs. Najani Granville. Okay.
Ms. Granville's
Jeannie-
present. I see her.
Jeannie Harris Blindman. Marva Henry.
Present.
Zerzima Jordan.
Here.
Regina Kinsey.
Present.
Francis Langley. Miss Langley, I saw you if you're having a hard time unmuting yourself.
Julia, Ms. Langley's here. Jeannie Harris is present.
Tamika Gibbs is present.
Present, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
I thought I heard Fred Frazier earlier today, but I'm not sure. I think he was calling in.
He's not in.
Dr. Sarah Lazar. Marielle Lemaine. Miss Lemaine, how do I pronounce your first name, please?
Hooray.
Murray.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Elaine Mahoney. Quasi Mensa.
Here.
Calvis Mickelsteins. Alicia Nozenzo. Fior Ortiz Joyner.
Present.
Robert Puka. Yaya Raji. Celine Rosado.
Present.
Adam Sachs.
Present.
Brian Saunders.
Present. Good evening, everyone.
Meredith Staten.
Present.
Carmisha Superville. Audrey Tate Hall. Mark Thurton. Greg Todd.
Here.
Ethel Tyus.
Present.
Gib Vaconi.
Here.
Eves Villas. Kimberly Watson. Irsa Weatherspoon.
Here.
Robert Witherwax.
Present.
Deborah Young.
Present.
Vilma Zuniga. Okay, we are just at a quorum with 26 members present.
Hi, Kevin Farley is also here.
And Lisa Atkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Farley. Thank you, Miss Atkinson.
And thank you, Julia. I just
28
also-
members present.
Awesome, thank you. I just want to also thank our new members, our new board members that are starting with us. So welcome, and I look forward to your energy. Okay, next I want to, we want to do the acceptance of the June minutes. No corrections received by the office. So I make a motion to accept the June minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any nays, no nays? So moved in accepting June minutes. Thank you so much. I just also want to make known to you all, remind you for those, some who don't know and remind others that do, that we have a monthly CB8 newsletter, and it is sent out to the mailing list. So if you have any information on community events, etc., that you would like to be published in the newsletter, please submit to the office by the second Monday of each month. At this time, I want to acknowledge any of our elected officials and or their elected, their representatives. Right now, I know that we have Reverend Karim for Latrice Walker's office. Would you like to give a comment, say hello?
Just like to say good evening to everybody on behalf of Assemblywoman Latrice Walker. Just want to just kind of remind everybody of our third Saturday advisory board meeting. You can go on the Real Latrice Walker Facebook page and join us for our third Saturday advisory board meeting. It starts at 10 a.m. And just to kind of share with you that the rent moratorium has been extended to January 22nd. So we still have some time in regards to rent. So if you have any concerns that you would like to share with the office, you can call the office at 718-342-1256. I also send regards from Nadine Gale. She usually represents our office on this particular meeting, but she asked me to represent her today.
Thank you, Reverend Karim. Can you actually repeat your phone number, please?
Sure. It is 718-342-1256.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a fantastic day, everybody.
Thank you, and thank you for being here. Any other of our officials?
Hi, this is Kim Robinson from
Hi, Kim
Councilmember Samuel's
Robinson.
office.
Hi.
I'm representing Councilmember Samuel's office. Greetings on behalf of the council member. I do apologize. I just finished open house for my son's school for Monday, so I do apologize. I'm gonna have my camera on, but I am gonna be listening.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else? Would any of the officials or their reps would like to speak?
Might as well jump in. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Raul Rothblatt here, representing Councilmember Robert Cornegy. It's great to, well, Summer was great, but it's also nice to see everybody again. Thank you for setting this up and for everyone being here. I do want to mention a couple things going on. We have a new business resource guide. I'll put the link in the chat. We have now, I think this is our fifth resource guide. We have an LGBT, a seniors resource guide, a pure violence guide, and now the small business guide. So hopefully people can find this useful. I think they're a pretty tremendous resource. I do want to encourage people to stay involved with our NORC. We have a District 36 naturally occurring retirement community. Last month, or was it 2 months ago, we gave out some Chromebooks to some seniors. Not only did we give out Chromebooks, but we helped the seniors set them up. So it was a very useful thing for a lot of seniors, and we will be trying to do this again. So if you want to be involved in this, stay tuned. Maybe if you want to contact me, I will get you in touch with our NORC and make sure that you're connected with that. They do a lot of great events, and we're very proud that our office has been able to set that up. For anybody, I don't think the CB8 had too many problems with the recent storm, but there are resources available. There's even one-on-one services available at Restoration Plaza. So there's both state and federal help available in case you were impacted in any way. The last thing is that on September 25th, we have the Battle of the Bands coming up, which is a really epic, fantastic event. We have so many talented youth and musicians in our community, and we're going to show them all off on September 25th. So invite you all to that and stay tuned for details. So that's it for me, and I'll post some things in the chat. Thank you very much.
Mr. Rothblatt, thank you so much. If you could just send a link with all that information to the district office, that would be great. Okay?
Gladly.
Thank you for being here. Okay, anyone else from the elected officials office? Anyone? Okay, I just want to remind everyone, I didn't get a chance to mention it. If you have a question, just please raise your hand and we will acknowledge you. Thanks again. Next up is the Open Restaurant Citywide Zoning Text Amendment. So I'm going to read that. Open Restaurants Resolution. Community Board held a public hearing on Open Restaurant Citywide Zoning Text Amendment on August 31st, 2021 via WebEx. The public hearing was to discuss the New York City Department of Transportation and Department of City Planning's citywide zoning text amendment that would allow the DOT to administer the permanent open restaurant program. The proposal would remove sidewalk cafe regulations from the zoning resolution to increase geographic eligibility, as sidewalk cafes will become part of a unified sidewalk and roadway outdoor dining program administered at DOT. At the conclusion of the public hearing, the Economic Development, Environmental, Sanitation, Transportation Committee, Land Use Committee, SLAC Committee chairs put together the following resolution based upon the presentation at the hearing and comments received. Resolution. Whereas the Emergency Open Restaurant Program, which enabled restaurants to erect sidewalk and/or roadway seating, was instrumental in ensuring the continued survival of over 11,000 restaurants, over 100,000 jobs, and New York City's food scene, a vital part of the city's culture. And whereas in October 2020, the New York City Council voted to establish a permanent version of open restaurants managed by the Department of Transportation and limit the location of sidewalk cafes. And whereas the zoning resolution of New York City, as currently written, has detailed rules that limit the location of sidewalk cafes, and whereas to administer a permanent open restaurants program, the Department of Transportation needs greater flexibility than currently permitted under these zoning rules. Now therefore, be it resolved that Community Board 8 supports the proposed amendments to the zoning resolution, deleting Article 1, Chapter 4 in its entirety, and making other edits to allow any restaurant anywhere in New York City to apply for a sidewalk cafe. Provided community boards have an advisory role to play in the application process for any restaurant that seeks a sidewalk or roadway seating area, regardless of whether it is also seeking a state liquor authority license. The Open Restaurants Program includes a method to address and enforce quality of life concerns as trash management and sanitation, vermin and rodent abatement, excess and/or late noise, abandoned or underused sidewalk or roadway seating areas, and behaviors such as loitering. The fee structure for permitting is structured equitably to encourage applications from lower income neighborhoods. The renewal window is less than 4 years. Neither sidewalk nor roadway seats will be placed such that they impede pedestrian right-of-way, emergency vehicle access, efficient delivery of goods and services to local businesses, or bus transit. Community board members are asked to support the resolution as submitted. I also want to mention that we've got a letter on record from the North Flatbush bid, and we also had a question, actually a statement that I want to read from Janet Collins that is present this evening. This is a statement, a question and supporting statements. I would like to know if City Planning DOT has done any environmental impact studies as to how this proposed permanent program will affect rain drainage, flooding of streets, and in property and main and side streets, etc. With less cars, for less space for cars to travel safely due to the restaurant structure in the streets, there will be more congestion caused by the structures, leading to more pollution, more congestion, and affecting the health of residents because the cars will not be able to move through the area easily, leading to more idling. Also, due to climate change, we are increasingly more susceptible to more catastrophic weather conditions that can damage these structures, creating life-threatening and altering conditions for people. Because the ocean waters are warmer at higher latitudes, hurricane and tropical storms are able to maintain their intensity as they travel north, creating harsh conditions for New York City. Example, Hurricane Sandy, and all the rain and damaging wind possibilities we have received from the last storms this summer, not to mention the rain expected today and tonight. Weather patterns are predicted to worsen now. With this unpredictable, ever-changing environment in which we now live, it is in our best interest for all citizens, excuse me, community residents, city agencies to consider all outcomes, not just what is thought, but some to be best for restaurant business, but any decisions are made to drastically change the physical character of our neighborhoods. So I just wanted to note that, and thank you so much for your comment. No one else has emailed or called for speaking time, so we will now go
Ms.
to.
Witherspoon, before we go on, can I add something to that?
If it's short, Ms. Collins, because I
Yes,
felt that I
it is.
put
It
everything
is
in.
short.
So yes.
It's going to be very short.
Okay.
I just wanted to add on to that our borough president, right after the effects of Ida, he made a statement that we have to start thinking differently about how we solve problems based on how water is affecting our New York City based on climate change. So to look at the old ways of trying to solve problems may not be the best. And also, I'd like to mention that Mayor de Blasio said that we have to start thinking about an evacuation plan, looking now at what water has done to us here with Sandy and with this last storm. So if we're trying to evacuate people from New York City, these particular structures are certainly going to get in the way and impede that process. So I just would like that to be added and thought about
Thank you
in a
very
very
much. That,
serious manner. Thank you so much.
thank you. That is noted. I do have a couple of questions. We have Lauren Avellino.
Hi, yes. I apologize. I had intended to speak up during public comment, but I thought it was just for elected officials. So I wanted to make a little bit of an announcement. I work at Methodist Hospital, but I can wait.
We're not
if
up
you'd
to
like
that
me
point yet.
Okay, there we go. Fine. I'm going back on mute. Sorry.
We didn't get to public comment yet.
Okay, so do we have any do we have any questions with what has just been discussed? We have Gib Baconi.
Thank you, Ms. Witherspoon. I just wanted to ask a procedural question, which is, which is where the process of amending the zoning text is right now. It was not my understanding that we were in ULURP now with this, that at this point, our resolution is sort of guidance leading to something that will later go through ULURP. Is that accurate? This is not a ULURP process now, and the community board will hear it again as a function of ULURP before the zoning and text is changed. Is that correct?
That is correct. Right now, there is a vote specifically that's supposed to be next week. I'm not sure of the date with the council. So it has nothing to do with ULURP at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Question. Okay, so we have, are there any more questions?
Yes,
I didn't notice any other hands.
Celine has a question.
Celine, hi Celine.
Hey, I'm still trying to find the raise hand.
If you're speaking, we can't hear you too well.
Why? Do you hear me better?
A little better. Can you more volume?
Does this help? My
You sound
earphones are not working.
You sound
so-
subdued.
Better?
Oh, better. Yes.
Okay, I just took off my earphones. Okay, I have one question just in regard to preparedness versus reactiveness in regard to the weather changes, the weather patterns, the garbage, the pileup of garbage, and mostly wondering, mostly it's small businesses that can't afford to lose this extra space that they were given really to get through what we're still going through, which is COVID. It hasn't passed yet. It's nowhere near done yet. New mandates are continuing to make it difficult to pass through. So my question is, what, if anything, is being done on the Department of Environmental Protection side as they control our sewers, and on the sanitation side as far as increasing pickups and cleanups to really help and share in the duty of keeping the city clean and our sewers clean, and just sharing in the responsibility where the small businesses really do pay the brunt of what it means to stay open and clean and responsible with your very few bad actors. But for the most part, small businesses really do their part with very limited resources and against very high regulations across the board. So what, if anything, is being done on city agencies like the ones I mentioned to play their part?
Well, that's a great question. And fortunately, there's not an audience to answer that question. So what I suggest, if you could just put that in writing and we could forward it to the proper agencies to get answers. But there's just no one here to be able to answer that question. You need an answer from the specific agencies. And it is a great question because it is a problem. So would you be able to do that and send it to the district office?
Yes, I'm doing it now. Thank you.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much. So if we don't have any more questions, with regard to the open restaurants program, we like to vote.
I would like to make a comment. I did send in a question to DCP and copied the office on August 20th about open restaurants, asking about what fire prevention, fire suppression measures will be required for these structures. And I asked that same question again at the special meeting. And I was promised a response, and to date, I haven't gotten anything back on fire suppression, fire prevention, fire suppression. So I'd like to make sure that gets included in what we're asking DCP and DOT to look at for this program expansion.
Okay, thank you. If, as I've asked Mr. Rosado, can you also do the same thing to present it to as a question and send it to the district office? That would be appreciated.
Okay, I will resend my August 20th email.
That would be great. Yeah,
Okay.
that would be great. Thank you so much. Okay, so here we are at the Opens Restaurant zoning text amendment. So I'd like to call the roll. We would like.
Question, please.
Yes, and who's speaking?
This is Kwasi Mensah.
Oh, hello, Mr. Mensah. What
How
can
are you?
I'm good, thank you. Welcome.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Tice's point, will that be included as a part of the vote, the issue of fire safety? And should it be voted on to be put in as a condition now, rather than waiting until it falls off again? That's an important issue.
It is an important issue, but what else is the other things that are going on is that there's still this is a very specific amendment really to do with sidewalks in conjunction with roadways. So there are other things that needs to be teased out as concerns that we have brought forth. So with this concern that Ms. Tice has brought up, we will resend that, as well as what Ms. Rosado has stated quite clearly. And anyone else that has something new and different that they want to submit as a comment or concern, I ask that you do the same and send it to the district office. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Rob?
Just wanted to make the motion to support the action item as presented.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
Second.
Wonderful. Julia, can you do the roll, please?
Who made the second? Sorry, who made the second?
That was
Okay, thanks.
Sorry, guys, I did not unmute myself. That is embarrassing.
Happens to us.
Kirmany Allison. Glinda Andrews.
Yes.
Desmond Atkins. Lisa Atkinson.
Yes.
Princess Ben James. Julia Boyd. Gail Branch Muhammad.
Abstain.
Jerry Buchanan.
Yes.
John Buckholes. Nora Daniel.
Yes.
Aisha Dotson. Diane Duke. Kevin Farley.
Yes.
Andrea Ferris. Actually, I think Miss Ferris might be excused. Miss Weatherspoon, is Andrea Ferris going to attend tonight?
No, she's not going to be here.
Okay. Thank you. Fred Frazier. Drew Gabriel.
Yes.
Tamika Gibbs.
Abstain.
Najani Granville. Igenie Harris Blindman.
Abstain.
Marva Henry.
Yes.
Zerjima Jordan.
Yes.
Regina Kinsey.
I'm not sure on what we're supporting. I didn't get that.
We're supporting the resolution, which it had I think it had 4 conditions.
Yes.
With me. Okay, so we're supporting the open restaurants, making it permanent with the 4 conditions, correct?
Yeah, well, they're actually, I will
Five.
read them. Yeah, I will read them again. It's the concerns are trash management, sanitation, vermin and rodent abatement, excess and or late noise, abandoned or underused sidewalk or roadway seating areas, and behaviors such as loitering. Also, we want a renewal window that's less than 4 years, and we want to encourage equitable structures to encourage applications from lower income neighborhoods. Also, neither sidewalk nor roadway seats will be placed such that they impede pedestrian right of way, emergency vehicle access, efficiency, delivery of goods and services to local businesses or bus transit.
So we're supporting the permanent fixtures with conditions.
Right.
No.
To clarify a touch, we're supporting the change to the zoning text, provided that when a full program is implemented, it includes our provisions.
No.
Okay, so Ms. Kinsey, I just want to verify that you're voting no on the resolution.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Francis Langley.
Abstain.
Dr. Sarah Lazar.
Yes.
Murray Lemaine. Ms. Lemaine?
Yes.
Thank you. Elaine Mahoney. Kwasi Mensah.
Yes.
Calvis Mickelsteins. Alicia Nocenzo. Fior Ortiz Joyner.
Abstain.
Robert Puka.
Benson is no.
Mr. Puka, did you say something? Yaya Raji. Celine Rosado.
Yes.
Adam Sachs.
Yes.
Brian Saunders.
Yes.
Meredith Staten.
Yes.
Carmisha Superville. Audrey Tate Hall.
Yes.
Mark Thurton.
Yes.
Greg Todd.
Yes.
Ethel Tyus.
Abstain.
Gib Vaconi.
Yes.
Eves Villas. Kimberly Watson. Irsa Weatherspoon.
Yes.
Robert Witherwax.
Yes.
Deborah Young. Miss Young. Vilma Zuniga. The motion passes 22 in favor, 1 opposed, 5 abstentions.
We have to add one more to the support. Princess James sent it in the Q&A. She supports it.
Thank
Said
you.
yes.
That is, sorry,
I
23
think
in favor,
there-
1
hello?
opposed.
Excuse me, 2 no's.
Who, I have a no for Regina Kinsey, and that's it.
And I said no also.
Who is
Deborah
this?
Young.
Miss Young, I'm
Deborah
sorry, I didn't
Young.
hear your vote. I didn't hear you at all.
No problem. No
So that's
problem.
23 in favor, 2 opposed, 5 abstentions.
Thank you so much. I want to ask, is Miss Allison King here from Anchor House? Allison King or any of her representatives? Okay, thank you. All right, Miss Lauren Evelino. Hi.
Hi. Thank you.
One second, for those, I'm sorry to interrupt you. For those who are not speaking, please mute yourself. Thank you.
Yeah, I ain't got respect for Deb no more. I didn't even hear her say no. Did you hear her say anything?
Okay, so can can the host just mute everyone? Okay.
I'm trying.
Okay, Miss Avellino, please begin. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. My
Sure.
name is Lauren Avellino. I am the manager of community affairs at New York Presbyterian Brooklyn Methodist Hospital. I'm happy to be here. A couple years ago, it's hard to believe, back in 2019, we hosted these roundtable events in certain neighborhoods throughout Brooklyn, including Prospect and Crown Heights, Bed-Stuy, Coney Island, Flatbush, to sort of hear from community members what gets in the way of seeking cancer care. And we have the findings that we are going to share from those previous discussions on Monday, September 13th at 5:30 p.m. So I wanted to let you all know that the event is coming up on Monday. Please join us. The registration is at bit.ly/BK Community Health Talk. I did also send the information to the office. We hope you can join us to hear about cancer updates and cancer care in Brooklyn. There is a large instance of cancer in Crown Heights, Prospect Heights, so that's why it was one of the neighborhoods of focus, and we would love to see you there. I will also pop it into the Q&A, but feel free to message me or I'll give my email in case anyone has any questions. It's L as in Lauren, P as in Patricia, A as in Avellino, LPA9002@nyp.org, and that's NYP as in New York Presbyterian. So thank you very much and hope to see you on Monday evening. It's a virtual event.
Thank you very much, Miss Avellino.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any more public comments at this time?
Yes. Hi, my name is Corinne. This is my first time attending this meeting, and I do have a question. With the floods from Ida last week, I've been in Prospect Heights for over 40 years, and I know that we have a lot of climate change going on, but my basement flooded, and I understand that there's help available. My concern are the high rises that continue to be built and how it's affecting the infrastructure of our sewer system. So I'm wondering, is there anything that we can do or any type of legislation there is that forces the developers to at least give some type of accountability for whether or not they are abiding to the guidelines of cleaning and maintaining the sewage? Because I believe that with these high rises, that's extra plumbing that's not being attended to by the city, and unfortunately anybody who owns property who had problems with flooding last week, I think we're the ones who suffer for it.
Yes, that has been a problem. You
I have
mentioned
a
the word in
question.
terms of legislature. That is something, again, that needs to be written and forwarded to the agencies that are responsible and that we could plead to. So do you have the information for the district office?
No, I don't. I don't.
Okay, what is your last name, Miss Corinne?
Pierre. He is in Peter. IERRE.
Okay, can
May I ask a
you,
question?
are you calling us? You're online?
I'm
Or are you-
online right now.
Okay, so do you have, if you can send through the Q&A to the district office, they'll be able to give you contact information for us, so you can submit that concern.
Okay, so you want me to
Yeah.
put down my question in the Q&A and someone with my email or phone number and someone will
Yes,
get back to me?
it'll go
Okay.
right to them. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate you,
May I
and
ask
we
a
hope to see
question?
you again, not just today.
Definitely.
Okay, great. Awesome. Any more public comments?
May I have a question?
Who's speaking, please?
It's Mr. Staten.
Hi, Mr. Staten.
Isn't that supposed to go to the state instead of the city?
You know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. That's something that we're going to have to find out specifically where that should be directed.
Madam Chair, if I may,
Sure.
I received a number of calls since the storm Wednesday before last, flooded basements, the same complaint from Ms. Pierre. And I asked each one who called to send a copy of a picture of the catch basin near their property, as many as they could pull together, and most of them were overgrown. Several of them had grass growing out of them. I can't remember the last time I saw a DEP truck cleaning catch basins. So in preparation for the rest of the 11 weeks, 12 weeks we have to go for hurricane season, I think we should do a full court press on getting DEP to send out those big trucks to clean the catch basins.
Yeah, because that's definitely a city issue. That's definitely a city issue, yes. I thank you for that, Ms. Tyus. Any more public comments?
Hi, this is Dan Miller. I'm a CB8 resident. I would just want to point out that in regards to the high rises, that specifically allowing more people to live near mass transit in dense environments is the best way for people to lower their carbon emissions, is to be able to live near the subway, be able to bike and walk everywhere. So those high rises are actually doing a lot to fight climate change. And I just want to make sure that the record reflects that, you know, we should be encouraging more housing development, especially in the wealthier parts of this neighborhood, not, you know, fighting it. Thanks.
I have a question to that, please. A question.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Yes, Mr. Mensah?
I'm wondering, Mr. Miller, if you help me with this. Could it be that the tall buildings are blocking airflow, causing, I guess, issues with the neighborhoods of not, you know, of blocking the airflow? So just in your own home, you feel warmer than normal. Is that a possibility? I wonder.
I mean,
not necessarily with the hurricanes, but just overall, you know, the humidity we tend to feel these days has been exacerbated by these tall buildings blocking airflow. Just curious.
I am not aware of any reason why that would be the case. But I am familiar with the research about people's personal emissions being lower when they're allowed to live in denser areas. So that's why I brought that up.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for your comment and concern. We have Senator Brisport here. Senator, would you please greet us? Welcome.
Hi, thank you, Madam Chair, and hello, everyone. Great. So can I have like a couple minutes, or?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, well, pleasure to see everyone. For those who have not met me yet, I'm State Senator Jabari Brisport. Happy to represent you in Albany. And I'll start by saying welcome back to the beginning of another great school year. I know there's lots of concerns about the safety around our schools, and also even some of you just have questions of like, what is going on? Can your students even get on the bus? So I do want to plug a couple back to school events we are doing in the office in a few weeks just to hear from you. I'll have more dates shortly, but we are doing a night to hear from parents, a night to hear from students, and a night to hear from administrators, just about concerns for the upcoming school year and figure out ways best to address them. I do want to also share that, in case you're unaware, we did extend the eviction and foreclosure moratorium through January 15th. So you cannot be evicted and your home cannot be foreclosed on through January 15th. And please apply to the ERAP program for financial assistance for back rent if you have not already. If you need assistance with that, you can reach out to my office for that as well. I'm also pleased to announce for parents listening, we just announced a big campaign push for universal childcare in the state of New York. We will be doing a listening tour throughout the state, throughout the fall. We're starting in Brooklyn because Brooklyn's the best at the end of this month on September 29th, and would love to have anyone listen in or share their thoughts on childcare and the need for it. I wonder if I can share my screen. Okay, I want to share a couple more community events we have going on. I think this should work. Okay, it looks like my screen is sharing. So I hope people can see this. But we have a picnic this Sunday, just a little bit north in Fort Greene Park. We're co-hosting with State Assemblywoman Farrah Sirfat Forrest. Feel free to come out, look out for the you can enter in DeKalb Avenue in Washington Park right by the farmer's market, and look out for the red balloons and find us and talk to us and enjoy some food. Monday at Kingsborough Houses, we are doing a community conversation on public safety with some advocacy groups and some local violence interrupters to look at alternatives to policing and community-led solutions. And near the end of this month, on Sunday, September 26th, we're doing a resource fair, again in Fort Greene Park. Come on up. We'll have all tons of great vendors and a special guest of honor who it's a surprise. You have to come to find out who she is. And okay, I think I stopped sharing now. And I also wanted to mention something on land use around the rezoning around 840 Atlantic. Can I say that now, or should I wait? There's like a land use section, right, Madam Chair?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, there is a land use section.
Okay, I'll wait.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Okay. So next up for the next action item is land use. So I will ask Land Use Chair Tyson if she could come forth. Thank you. Can you unshare the screen, Senator? Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, this is Ethel Tyus, Chair of the Land Use Committee, providing a read on the action item from that meeting on Thursday, September 2nd, by WebEx. The committee discussed a presentation for additional density at 840 Atlantic Avenue. Vanderbilt Atlantic Holdings LLC has requested additional density for their proposed project at 840 Atlantic Avenue. In May, the Land Use Committee voted to deny support for the project until certain conditions were met. These conditions and the motion were described in the minutes of the May Land Use Committee meeting, which are available on the board's website with a link to the YouTube video of the meeting. Since that time, the applicants communicated with Gib Viconi, Chair Weatherspoon, and myself, Ethel Tyus, with two alternative zoning proposals for the project. to address concerns expressed by the committee having to do with density and the availability of affordable housing. Mr. Vacconi made a presentation of the possible alternatives, including the applicant's original proposal, the committee's counter proposal, and the two alternatives. Please see the Excel. There is an Excel spreadsheet which I don't have available to post, but which was to share, I should say, but which was distributed to committee members. Possibly Mr. Vacconi would be prepared to share that if it comes up in questions as we go through this recap.
I do have that available and I can share it if need be.
Okay, I'm going on through the action item, and I'm sure this will come up again as you give an update at the end. In summary, the applicant has offered to provide affordable housing, either 54 or 50 units at MIH Mandatory Inclusionary Housing Option 3 in exchange for greater density. Ms. Weinstein asked if Pacific Street residents who were directly impacted by the applicant's zoning change requests had been contacted by either the committee or the applicant. There was no indication that any outreach had been made specifically to Pacific Street residents. This import is that that area is a historic district. And so you have a adverse impact, in quotes, that is just outside of the historic district. Moving on, Mr. Crassus asked for details regarding the square footage of the proposed or affordable units. The square footage of the 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units is between 650 and 1,200 square feet. Ms. Lazar, Dr. Lazar, commented that she recognized the question of affordability, but added that any addition of luxury units to a neighborhood puts pressure on all other rents in the neighborhood. After a robust discussion, Mr. Vacconi made the following motion, which was seconded by Ms. Wedderburn. The Land Use Committee recommends the support of the application subject to the following conditions: that the zoning be revised as follows. The frontage, 150 feet along Atlantic Avenue, shall be rezoned to C6 3X. The remaining frontage along Atlantic Avenue of 50 feet shall be rezoned to C6 2A. The frontage 125 feet along Pacific Street shall be zoned C6 3A. However, a setback of 100 feet in height and 40 feet in depth shall be provided, and the remaining frontage along Pacific Street be zoned R6B. Further, that the applicants make a binding commitment, which Mr. Vacconi is going to update us on, to provide 8,000 square feet for permanent use as an art center. That the applicants make a binding commitment to provide non-residential use of 50,000 square feet, and that the completed building offer affordable housing under the terms of option 3 of the city's mandatory inclusionary housing program. The committee voted 17 in favor with 3 opposed and 1 abstention. We hope the full board will support the committee's recommendation. Madam Chair. Are there questions on the minutes or comments?
I just wanted to ask if you wanted to add anything, since you mentioned about if he had the chart.
Sure.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to share a screen just to give the board members more of an idea of what we're talking about in terms of densities and the way they lay out on this lot. I'm going to start by saying the opportunity to have 54 deeply affordable apartments come on in this district is very compelling. We have not had any developers elect MIH option 3 yet in Community District 8, and MIH option 3 means 40% AMI. So those 54 apartments will be available to a family of families of 3, let's say, earning an average of about $43,000. It's exactly the segment of incomes that we're finding are experiencing the most displacement in our community district, and it's very significant that we're able to achieve that in a for-profit project. I don't know of any for-profit projects in this district that are doing this. Let me first review the lot itself and what we're talking about in terms of what's going where. Hopefully you all can see my screen now. This is what has been proposed and what the land use committee voted on in the Thursday meeting last week. This lot was originally in the zoning application planned for C63X, which is a 205 foot height limit, or let's say about 19 to 20 stories. What is now proposed is only this section be zoned C63X. It's 150 feet along Atlantic Avenue and 100 feet along Vanderbilt Avenue. The next 100 feet along Atlantic Avenue will be zoned C62A. That is a 140 foot height limit, or about 14 stories. One of the concerns that the community board has had is precedent setting in this project that might have an influence of greater density east of here. By zoning this area at C62A, we mitigate that risk. So this change in the project addresses that concern that the community board had. This parcel is on Vanderbilt Avenue and Pacific Street. This is proposed for C63A. That's a 170 foot height limit, or about 17 stories, but it will have a setback from the street of with a base height of 100 feet and a distance of 40 feet. And so it will make a transition down to the R7A district that's next to it. R7A has a max height of 90 feet. And this area here, all the way to the east on Pacific Street, will be zoned R6B. So this will make a transition to the R6B here to the east. So this arrangement does address the community board's concerns about density and precedent. And at the same time, it delivers 8,000 square feet for a permanent, as a permanent use for arts. It delivers 50,000 square feet of non-residential, which is more than one, which is greater than 1 story of non-residential or commercial use. And again, that is part of what the M-Crown guidelines called for on Atlantic Avenue. And most importantly, it delivers 20% of the apartments at 40% AMI, or 54 apartments at 40% AMI, which goes well beyond what the M-Crown resolution called for. I'm going to switch for a second to show you the kind of how those options map out on the table here. This column here represents what was originally proposed by Vanderbilt Atlantic Holdings. This represents the community board's sort of middle ground option that was passed in May during the ULIP review. This represents what was supported by the land use committee last week. Originally a building of 307 units. The community board recommended zoning that would bring it to 193 units. It's now at 270 units. Under the community board's recommendation of May, we would have had 39 affordable units. Under this plan, we will have 54. We will have and deeply affordable, and we have a zoning target, a density target along Atlantic Avenue of 6 to 7 FAR under the M-Crown resolution, but here the lot will have an average FAR of 7.6. So as Ethel mentioned, this this resolution by the land use committee was subject to the applicants making a binding commitment for the community benefits, including the affordable housing, including the art center, the non-residential use, and the bulk restrictions that we just described. At this point, I can say that we have come to terms on that agreement with the applicants, and we have had the applicant, Vanderbilt Atlantic Holdings, has executed the agreement. The major property owner has executed the agreement, and we expect to be able to collect the remaining signatures from the other two smaller property owners prior to the city council's land use vote on Monday. This is something obviously that came together quite quickly, but it does represent some fairly significant benefits for the community, for this community district. I want to further just explain that the agreement that we have reached with these applicants is substantially similar in structure to the one that we reached with EMP Capital in the case of Grand Pacific rezoning in 2019. It will take the form of a restrictive declaration that outlines all of the public commitments, and that will be filed with the deed in the chain of title and will be available to the public. It also includes an agreement between the Friends of CB8 and the developer and all of the underlying property owners that will be binding on them and any future owners of the property or the development rights. So this is very much this is effectively, this is exactly the same structure that we implemented with the Grand Pacific rezoning. And so I think we have accomplished the mission of securing a binding commitment for these obligations. With that, I'll turn it back over to the chair and can answer questions as well if there are any.
Thank you, Mr. Viconi. I do have a question that came in. Will the apartments only be available via lottery?
The affordable apartments will be made available through the New York City Housing Connect lottery. All apartments that are all affordable housing generated through MIH is let through the lottery system. Because this is Housing Connect lottery, it means that 50% of those apartments will be preferenced for residents of Community District 8. So residents of Community District 8 have first shot at 27 of the 54 apartments.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we do have a couple of questions. First, I want to start with or comments with Senator Brisport.
Sure, and thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Ms. Ricconi, for the presentation. I want to start by saying I think one of my initial frustrations is not with any of the members of the board here, but with Vanderbilt and Avenue Holdings for not reaching out to myself, or I believe also not the Assemblywoman regarding this whatsoever to tell us their plans. I presume they think they don't need to reach out to us, as land use is a city issue, but we are representatives of this community and these residents, and want to make sure we hold their best interest in heart. So looking at the numbers of affordable units, I'm more so concerned with the number of unaffordable ones that are now there. And I just looking at it, seems like they've gone back up to basically where they were with the initial proposal. And it is, those market rate unaffordable units that are the key drivers of gentrification and just, bleeding out Black people from the community and people of color. So that concerns me. I really know that a lot of people here worked really hard to do a lot of good visioning with the entire M Crown rezoning, and really want to make sure we get as close to that vision as possible. This does seem like something that's being railroaded through by the developer and the current councilwoman. And, we do have a new council person coming in next year. I wonder if it's worth waiting a little bit longer, because this is something that's, once you build it, it's gonna be there, and I think it's worth waiting to make sure we get it correct. And I'm happy to talk about this more. I've spoken with the Assemblywoman about these concerns as well, and we are happy to talk more with people in the community about how do we really get to something that fully realizes the visions of the M-Crown rezoning, and also ensures that we slow down gentrification in the area. Thank you.
Madam Chair, may I take a crack at answering that?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brisport. Yeah, Senator Brisport. Sorry. Yes, Ms. Tyus.
Yes, well, as I've been discussing with our colleagues, Mr. Vicconi, Attorney Robert Witherwax, Majority Leader staff, we are looking at using the same approach that LPC uses when property owners cry hardship. Here, for new developments, the investors, the would-be developers cry, I've got to make a valid presentation to my current lender or my would-be lender. So Senator Brisport, your support and your colleagues' support would be very instrumental in getting those numbers up front. So later on, they can't cry, well, I can't make my ROI if I don't do X number of market rate dwelling units, et cetera. Okay, and commercial units. So that needs to be a full court press at the beginning, and I think it needs to be a 3 or 4-way set of conferences at the beginning. That's my main suggestion, and we can refine that as we go along. I just want to reiterate my gratitude to Mr. Vicconi and Attorney Witherwax for working the past couple of days to get the CBA signed. And I also want to be clear that Vanderbilt Atlantic Holdings has come a long way towards the sunlight for this project, and they are due a little bit of applause for moving ahead with the CBA in the spirit of cooperation with the community.
Thank you, Mr. Yes, please go ahead.
Ms. Witherspoon, I wanted to address a couple other of the senator's comments directly. First one that's extremely important for everyone to understand: there is no opportunity to delay this till the next council member's term. ULURP has a statutory time frame, and we're at the end. This cannot be delayed. There are other applications sort of out there waiting in the wings that have indicated an interest in trying to accelerate the public process to get passed under this council member's tenure, but this is not one of them. This one began at a time when it would have to be passed this year. So we don't, unfortunately, have the option of delaying action. With respect to the M-Crown plan, we really appreciate your support. It's been obviously something we've spent a great deal of time on, and it hasn't been an easy process with the city of New York. The reality is that right now, affordable housing is largely being built by private developers, and we try to do the very best we can in terms of meeting the needs of the community. I mean, M-Crown will also create quite a bit. Even our plans for M-Crown will create a significant amount of market rate housing as well. That's part of the mix, and it's intended to subsidize affordable. What we did not envision at the time when we began M-Crown is that we would reach affordability levels as low as we are here. And quite frankly, we may need to even reassess how we look at that going forward, because what's happened in our community district, initially we looked at the idea of trying to achieve affordability levels in developments in the M-Crown district that were at the median income in Community District 8. I don't think that may not be sufficient anymore because of gentrification that's driven the median income up. And if we just build at that level, we will not be making it easier for the people who have lived here their whole lives and just want to stay. We have to be lower than that. And right now, MIH option 3 is kind of our really the only tool we have to get there. The state programs don't get us there. The other MIH options don't necessarily get us there either. So that's why we've looked in this case to try to get to option 3 and get the deepest affordability we can. Thank you.
May I speak? Now,
Quick question.
Excuse me.
Hello?
Thank you very much. We have 2 questions that we're going to allow 2 minutes each in this order. First, Elisa Helliger. Please, if you have a question or comment with regard to this subject here. Ms. Helliger?
can you see my hand raised? No?
Okay, so we're going to move on to Mr. Giron. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right, with the Crown Heights Tenants Union. And we'd like, if you could just keep your comment or question to 2 minutes. Thank you.
Sure. Hi, my name is Esteban. I'm a member of the Crown Heights Tenant Union and also a member of the Tenants PAC board. But I also serve on the Community Board 9 ULURP committee. And after seeing what had gone down here and how this was presented, I want to make sure that the board members know, and I say this in appreciation of the work that's been done, in particular on the M-Crown. It's pretty much the only community board that has done anything like this. You don't have to vote today. You've already voted. It's been done. I think that you are being pressured, and I think it is unfortunate. It has happened to us as well. And after serving 6 years on the ULURP committee, I'm really disappointed in how that's played out. The developer themselves can withdraw the application. They can pause the application. There's nothing that's rushing this. You could get all of M-Crown as soon as January. And for some reason, the council member wants this to go through now. The council member also said publicly twice that she was going to not support anything that was less than M-Crown, that was, the floor of the negotiations. And then you're below the floor of negotiations. So a lot of the technical details are gonna, can change here, but I don't think that there's a compelling reason for the board to grant this right now. You've done the work already. You already did the work. So yeah, I think that's pretty much what I have for y'all tonight. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Mr. Staten has a question.
Wow, thank you. Listen, first of all, he answered the first part of my question, that the community board did have an option, a better option, and we voted for this before. If we delay this, they may come back with something that we need to push this thing forward. I don't understand why they want to turn it back. We've been fighting for so long to get this project through. I don't want to see any more delays than necessary. I hope you will vote for it when it comes up.
Thank you, Mr. Staten, for your comment. And
Can I ask a question?
who's speaking, please?
My name is Corinne. I have my hand up.
Go right ahead, please.
I was looking at your spreadsheet, Mr. Vicconi, and I'm just curious to know, how is it that the affordable units went from 92 to 54?
The reason for that is because the 92 units were originally proposed under MIH option 2, which is much less affordable. It's effectively almost a market rate rent, and so the developer is stretching the subsidy much farther at that point and can provide more units. We're not interested in more units that are closer to market rate. That is not going to keep people living in Community District 8. We need more units for the people who are the most rent burdened and are the most threatened with displacement. And those are more expensive for the developer to provide. But our tool for getting there is MIH. MIH option 3 is, I want to make sure this is understood as well. Under mandatory inclusionary housing, option 3 can't be imposed on a developer. It can be given as an option in conjunction with another option, either 1 or 2. And most developers, if they have those other options, will take 1 or 2 over 3, which is deep affordability. In this instance, we've asked for and received the commitment to build deeply affordable apartments. And again, I want to emphasize, this has never happened in this community district before. It's a significant concession, and one that's important to be able to keep people who are long-term residents of this district here.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vacconi. Now, I just really want to commend the work that
Ms. Weatherspoon?
let me speak. Thank you. I want to commend the committee for the work they have done. We're going to take one more question from Greg Todd, and then we're going to call for, I'm going to call a motion for a vote. Okay, we're going to have Ms. Tyus restate the motion, and then we're going to call a motion for the vote. So, Mr. Todd, please go on.
Todd, you have to unmute yourself.
I did it again. All right, never mind. Yeah, I just want to reiterate or support the observation by the Crown Heights tenant organizer that, we're just assuming that the developer has to get this done. He doesn't. He can withdraw the proposal as noted. There are other funds available for doing housing other than private lenders. And as long as we conform to the private lender, private developer model, we're going to have to basically conform to the capitalist system. And I think it's enough new energy in the council, enough socialist Democrats are in the council. There is a precedent for doing this. It was done all throughout the 80s and 90s when the city was in desperate financial condition and the private lenders basically abandoned the city. So if they abandoned it before, let them abandon it again. Let the city be the lender of last resort in this scenario and provide the funding for this project that the community wants, not what some private lender and a private developer imposes upon us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Tyus, can you please restate the motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I very much appreciate the comments from Senator Brisbois and Board 9-member Giron and Board 8-member Todd. They are correct in substance, and as Board Chair Weatherspoon asked, I restate the motion, and I ask you all to dig deep and vote your conscience. Land Use Committee recommends support of the application subject to the following conditions: that the zoning be revised as follows. The frontage 150 feet along Atlantic Avenue be zoned to C6 3X. And as Mr. Vacconi indicated, that's 19 stories. The remaining footage along Atlantic Avenue at 50 feet will be zoned C6 2A. That's 17 stories. The frontage 125 feet along Pacific Street would be zoned C6 3A. However, a setback of 100 feet in height and 40 feet deep shall be provided. The remaining footage along Pacific Street will be zoned R6B. That the applicants make a binding commitment to provide 8,000 square feet for permanent use as an art center. That the applicants make a binding commitment to provide non-residential use of 50,000 square feet. That the completed building offer affordable housing under the terms of option 3 of the city's mandatory inclusionary housing program. So we're looking at 54 dwelling units affordable. Of those 54, 27 would be preference to Community Board 8 residents. And the committee voted 17 in favor for this with 3 opposed and 1 abstention. And we again ask the full board to support the committee's recommendation with the updates you've heard here this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Tyus. I'd like to someone to make a motion, please.
I'd like to make a motion. Since we cannot compel the developer to withdraw this application, and since if the development on this project is delayed, it will only delay the provision of deeply affordable housing that people who are being pressured in this district by housing costs need. I move that the board support the committee's recommendation.
I second.
Who's the second?
I second it.
Who are you?
Mr. Staten.
Thank you, Mrs. Staten. Call a roll, please.
Making sure I'm unmuted now. Kermani Allison. Glenda Andrews.
Yes.
Desmond Atkins. Lisa Atkinson.
No.
Princess Ben James. Julia Boyd.
Yes.
Gail Branch Muhammad. Miss Muhammad. Jerry Buchanan.
Yes.
John Buckholz. Nora Daniel. Miss Daniel. Aisha Dotson. Diane Duke. Kevin Farley.
Yes.
Fred Frazier. Drew Gabriel.
Abstain.
Tamika Gibbs.
Abstain.
Najani Granville. Igenie Harris Blenman.
Abstain.
Marva Henry.
Yes.
Zerzima Jordan. Miss Jordan.
No.
Regina Kinsey.
No.
Francis Langley.
No.
Sarah Lazar.
No.
Murray Lemaine.
No.
Elaine Mahoney. Quasi Mensa.
No. No.
Calvis Mickelsteins. Alicia Nocenzo. Fior Ortiz Joyner.
Yes.
Robert Puka. Yaya Raji. Celine Rosado. Miss Rosado.
Abstain.
Adam Sachs.
Yes.
Brian Saunders.
Abstain.
Meredith Staten.
Yes.
Parmesia Superville. Audrey Tate Hall.
Abstain.
Mark Thurton.
Abstain.
Greg Todd.
No.
Ethel Tyus.
Yes.
Gib Viconi.
Yes.
Eves Villas. Kimberly Watson. Irsa Weatherspoon.
Yes.
Robert Witherwax.
Yes.
Deborah Young. Miss Young.
Abstain. Abstain.
Thank you. Did Miss Muhammad cast a vote with you, Miss Young?
Julia. Yes, Gail's here. Yes, I vote yes.
Miss Muhammad, you vote yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Miss Zuniga, Vilma Zuniga. Okay, the vote.
Oh yeah,
does not
Princess James voted yes. You put it in the Q&A. Princess James.
Princess is yes. Gail is a yes. And sorry, give me 1 second. Going back. The vote does not pass. 14 in favor, 8 noes, 8 abstentions. The noes do not outweigh the noes and abstentions do not outweigh the yes.
Thank you, Julia. The next item would be
Does anyone want to make a secondary motion to try to get something, or are we okay with the motion not passing?
I'm so sorry. Could you just repeat how I think that I'm just a little behind on the procedural way that the abstentions and no's and yeses all fit together. So could you just re-explain real quickly what happens or what the end result is? Sorry.
Mr. Witherwax, would you mind taking that for me, please?
I lost it.
Certainly, there were 30 votes just cast, right? So 16 out of 30 have to be in favor of a motion for it to pass. However, we only had 14 out of 30 in favor for it to pass. The configuration of the no's and abstentions doesn't really matter. It happened to be, what was it, Julia, 8 and 8? But more people voted not to support the motion or didn't vote at all than supported the motion. So we have to have at least 50% of the votes cast in favor of a motion for it to go forward. So to Julia's point, oftentimes we're at a crossroads because we usually come up with this with things like liquor license applications and landmarks applications that have a ticking clock behind them, and the community board has to speak. Well, we didn't really just say anything. We just said we don't support the particular motion that Ms. Tyus made. So yeah, the floor is open for somebody to make another motion, similar or different, on the same topic, and see whether that gets 16 votes in favor out of the 30 that were cast.
Madam
Or-
Chair, if I may, also, Mr. Witherwax, we just want to point out that in our case as a community board, abstentions count as no's.
Put simply, yes.
Okay, thank you. I just really want to point out to everyone that's here, board members, committees really work hard, very hard, and spend a lot of time putting together these items. So, you know, it's unfortunate when we have abstentions. You either, you know, it would be great if you support, but abstentions, they turn into no's, but it looks like you're sitting on the fence. Pick a side.
I am.
Okay, that's just what I want to say. Thank you.
Well,
Okay, so
see,
the
some
floor
of us
is
sitting on the
open.
fence for a reason, because maybe we don't understand it or we don't have enough information. We're not really clear.
I'm just, whoever's talking, can you please mute yourself? We're still conducting business. Thank you. So I just want to be clear. Are there any motions that you want to bring forth to the floor on this item? Hearing none?
This is Ethel Tyus.
Yes.
I move that we request the applicant to revise the application accordingly and return to the committee with a revised application. That's my motion.
Are you talking about affordable or what?
Is there a second?
The question was,
Sorry, could I request that Ms. Tyus repeat the motion? I don't think I heard it quite correct. If she could repeat it, that would be great.
Just as we do with LPC, Landmarks Preservation Commission applications, I would move that we ask the applicant to return to the committee with a revised application.
And just a point of clarification, because the city council is expected to vote on this ULURP application, I believe, on the 13th.
Monday.
Would we put some kind of, what would be the time frame for them
Have
to
to
return
reach
to us?
out to Majority Leader Cumbo and her staff and let her know the results of this vote. My motion has not gone anywhere yet. I don't know what's going to happen with the motion. It hasn't made it to the floor.
I would point out.
So I asked again, are we seconding the motion on the floor? Do we need a second?
Second. This is for Ortiz Joyner.
Thank you, Ms. Joyner.
So now we would have questions on my motion to ask the applicant
Wait.
to
Hold on a
withdraw
second.
or revise.
Hold on a second, Ms. Tice. What are you asking?
My motion was to ask the applicant to revise their proposal and return to the Land Use Committee.
May I ask, do we have that time? You know, we sit here working so long. I don't know if we got the time. Option 3.
Can't hear Mr. Staten.
If I may, just to
Yes.
Ms. Tice's motion, I would vote no on that because I feel we need to decide something tonight. The applicant is attending the call. If the applicant has any further concessions that they might want to make, that they would commit to, perhaps we can get to a yes on this tonight. Or we can have a definitive motion where somebody decides to vote against it tonight, and that carries the day. But I think either as presented tonight or as modified tonight is preferable to asking the applicant to just come back later.
Already voted against what they presented, Mr. Witherwax. So to ask them to whip up something now that we could vote on to support, I don't have a magic wand, and I doubt that they have one either. So as was discussed before, we do have a rejection of the proposal the way it is now. So to try and get something in shape to vote on tonight, I'm at a loss for words.
May I, Madam
Yes.
Chair, can I be recognized?
Yes, Mr. Petoni.
I want to explain what I based on other testimony we've heard, and I do believe the applicants deserve a chance to speak as well. But I want to say first, based on what we've heard in other testimony from the applicants, if we do nothing else this evening, what's likely to happen is the applications are going to be approved for C62A zoning for the entire lot. The applicants have testified previously that they will not develop in that instance. Doesn't mean that someone else might not, but it's also not exactly the thing that the community board has asked for. And we will not have an opportunity to seek commitments on things like deep affordability on more than one FAR of non-residential use and space for an art center. In fact, if nothing is built there under that zoning for some time, our community district will have more displacement, additional further displacement, and by the time other parts of M Crown get developed, there will be fewer people who are rent burdened and low income in community district 8 who will qualify for those affordable apartments. They will have been displaced. So the longer we delay moving on viable projects to build affordable, the fewer people we will have in our community district who are the most in need of housing because they will have been displaced. So I'm not saying that the world of having private developers provide affordable housing is ideal. I don't believe it is. It does happen to be the one we live in though. The only way this can move forward from the and so again, we're looking, this having nothing happen there does nothing to help. There's nothing to help pursue further the MCRON goals. The only way this can move forward tonight is if somebody who voted no on the last vote asks for a reconsideration. So I would say if any of you who voted no on the last vote weren't sure about what, or were unclear about what will happen if we don't, if the community board doesn't look to modify its position, you may want to make a motion for reconsideration, and hopefully we will get some other abstentions and some no votes to vote in favor.
May I say something?
1 second, please. I just want to remind everyone that we had a meeting. It was posted publicly, and we can't have committee meetings being threshed out on a full board meeting. This was something that was already disposed of in the committee, and we're looking for the support. We can't, if you're not going to support it, which is unfortunate, then we can't continue with a committee meeting presently.
Correct.
Okay, so Mr. Bocconi has spoken in terms of if there's any thoughts of reconsidering. I don't know if that's possible, or if we have anyone, but as it is right now, it has been voted down.
Okay, I made a motion. I believe I had a second, Madam Chair.
Exactly.
I'd like to say something.
Okay.
So, in terms of your motion, Ms. Tyus, are you looking to have the developer speak?
They are here, and Mr. Bocconi is fair in asking if they would be willing to speak. But the prognostications about what would happen at the council are his personal and fairly individual opinions. We do have the support of the city council majority leader on this, and we're going through a process that's respected. So if we put the work into it, and we did, especially Mr. Bocconi with crunching the numbers and getting the CBA, we put it to the board and they voted it down. So now I'm suggesting, I made a motion, I believe I had a second. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Neal.
You did have a motion and it was second, yes.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor, and that is what should be put to a vote now, rather than Mr. Bocconi's request for reconsideration. But before we do any of that, he's right and you're right, Madam Chair. Since the applicant is here, we should definitely give them an opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I ask a question?
Not yet. What can you give us a moment? Because there are actually 3 people that have a question. Okay, and we do see you, Ms. Kingsley. Okay. Now, Mr. Lee, did you have any words or comments?
Yeah, sure. I'm kind of shocked at the number between yes and no's. I see there's more yes than no votes, but the number of people who abstain from voting were quite intriguing how that's being treated. I'm not sure what's the better alternative, whether for us to come back or to suggest something now that's different than what was proposed. I think perhaps the district that's C63A on the Pacific side, if there's something that's different, could be even higher density than what's just brought up on the vote previously. In fact, I think we previously set that at a C63X with we have proposed the same base height of 100 foot with a deeper setback that's equally contextual to the surrounding area, respecting the C6 R7A districts. I think there's a big problem with the number of housing that's not being developed in New York City, and there's people moving to New York City, to this area. People want to live here. That is probably a larger driver of gentrification, in my opinion, for this particular location. It's very hard to displace families when majority of the site is occupied by the McDonald's that currently is very underutilizing the site. I think this is a good opportunity, and I don't think anybody has to love the proposal that we have here. It's a reasonable proposal to maximize the utility of the site with both commercial development and residential development. And yes, we have market rate housing. And you may or may not believe the projections that we're kind of representing, that there's a limit to how much deeply affordable units we can have on private developments. But that's the reality that we're facing. And, you know, we would like to deliver as many units of housing as possible. The vote was a little disappointing. So if there should be a different proposal, I would suggest the C638 district to be a C63X with a deeper setback, which both delivers more units of housing and also more deeply affordable units.
Is that a proposal?
Okay, thank you.
I'd
Okay,
love
so
to-
we have a few questions. So we're gonna take it in this order. Ms. Kinsey?
Yes, thank you,
Oh,
Madam.
wait, hold on. I just want to give the order so I don't have to say it again. So we're gonna have Ms. Kinsey, Mr. Todd, Ms. Lazar, Ms. Collins, and Ms. Atkinson. Go ahead, Ms. Kinsey, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question pertains to Ms. Tyus's second motion. I'm not clear on if we just voted on a revision from the developer. Was that his second revision or first? And in reference to Mr. Vacconi, speaking of displacement, we already lost 16,000 residents with nothing being done there. So I don't see the rush in this, and it's going to make a world of difference in terms of the displacement. We have to be concerned on getting whatever goes there, if anything at all, we have to get it right. But I'm wondering, I'm really concerned about the Ms. Tice's motion. Did this developer already put forth a revision? And now will the next revision, I just heard him say deeper affordability, will that mean more height? Would he need more height?
It wouldn't increase the overall height of the project because we already have on Atlantic side a C63X with that same maximum height. In terms of housing, I think we just go as many units of housing as possible, whether that's publicly funded or privately funded. At the current time, I don't see a viable solution through public funding to deliver the number of housing units that's necessary to meet the demand that's in New York City. People want to move into this community board. That's, I think, a simple fact. And there's people from all different types of income levels. You know, I think there's tremendous amount of demand we see on both rental side and for sale side. So it's just a function of supply and demand, in my opinion.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Todd?
First off, I have to really thank Gib for all the incredible work he's done over the years on this stuff. And he has, I think, brought us to the point where we're at. And I think the point where we're at is to look this in context. Amazon, you may recall, headquarters kicked out of Long Island City. The renovation of Sunset Park commercial area rejected by the city council. These are huge shifts. Increasingly, I think private developers are being rejected. And I think this is going to be very embarrassing for the council if our community board rejects the proposal and they have to go override us. It's going to look bad for them, especially in the light of the fact that most of them are lame ducks, that there's a whole new crew of council members coming in. They're going to be very different from the ones currently there. I think their logical response, if they have any sense, was simply to reject this proposal and invite some alternatives and let the new council bring in a whole different set of players, different financing options, et cetera, et cetera. You have a new mayor, a new council to try to drag this in at the very tail end of an old dying council administration, I think is just not realistic. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Todd. Lazar?
Yes,
Lazar, excuse me, sorry.
That's all right. Thank you very much for recognizing me. Yes, I think that the motion under discussion in order to have them come back to the drawing board is worthwhile, even though it doesn't fit the timeline that ULURP has set out. It's not ideal. And it, just to clarify, it's a recommendation because all that we're doing here is a recommendation. In the end, the council member is going to be the one responsible for making the deciding vote on this. And all our vote really does is either color her decision as one that is approved by the community or one that is not approved by the community. We already set out a vision for what we thought would be acceptable. And then she's requesting that in a very atypical manner, is requesting that the community board revote this issue. And us rejecting that motion, I can appreciate all the work that went into it. It must have been very quick because it happened without any advance notice, really. We got notified one day before the committee vote that there was a new proposal on the table and also had no documentation to review or study. So this was very quick. We are essentially just sending a message about what we are willing to do as a community board. Councilmember Cumbo is going to do what she deems best, but we're sending a message. And my fear, if we had voted yes overwhelmingly on that motion, my fear is that we would be sending a message to every developer who has a project, and there are two that we know of. We would be sending a message to every developer who's thinking about developing in the M Crown area, that we'd be sending the message that we're not that committed to the idea of a neighborhood rezoning, one that would bring infrastructure, transit improvements, water improvements, all sorts of infrastructure improvements that clearly we need. I mean, flooding we all saw what happened last week and just 2 weeks prior. We're sending a message that we're not serious about having a community vision for the neighborhood, and that I don't see why any developer would choose to wait for M Crown to happen if they know that they can just make a personal request, try to negotiate something individually. The entire benefit of a neighborhood rezoning is that you have a standard that applies everywhere. It's knowable in advance, and people make their plans and people make their investments based on that shared reality that we would all be operating under. I'm sorry to have gone on so long, but I want to support this new motion to have them come back to the table. And I yield the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Collins?
My concerns have been addressed. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Atkinson?
Hi, I would like to say that as a community board member and a land use committee member, I voted no, and I'm just going to stick by that no. And that's because I'm a person that family, grandparents, great-grandparents grew up in this neighborhood. And to me, when we went down and on the amount of apartments that were going to be for affordable, yes, I understand the whole MIH option. I understand all of that. My feelings is that we need more affordable units. And at the end of the day, this is a private developer that is about making money off of apartments. And like he said, other people want to move to the neighborhood. As a community board member, I'm not worried about the people that want to move to the neighborhood. I'm worried about the people that are here and the options that they have. And that should be something that I think we should be worried about. I don't like being trying to be coerced to tell me to change my no, because that's my opinion. That's how I feel. And people that are abstaining because they don't know, they're unsure, and they don't want to make the wrong decision. This is important. So I'm just I got a little annoyed with trying to be coerced, and it shouldn't have been put on the floor. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Atkinson. Mr. Whittle-Wax, do you have your hand up, or is that an old hand?
No, that's me. I still intend to vote no on Ms. Tyus's motion, and I voted yes before because I think in the realpolitik world that we are, this is a good deal for the now, right? We might get a better deal tomorrow. We might get a worse deal tomorrow. I would rather deal with it tonight and now. And if Ms. Tyus's motion doesn't pass, I might be willing to make a motion to support the committee's resolution as it was previously proposed. But going back to Ms. Lazar's point, with an extra added something, and coming from my seat on the Environment Sanitation Committee, I would ask somebody who's building down in low-lying Atlantic Avenue to seriously consider water flow and rain barrels and sort of green infrastructure as part and parcel of their development. And I might ask the developer to make a commitment to incorporate smart water usage into its building, and that would modify the motion enough to make it a new motion to vote on. So that was what would happen if Ms. Tyus's motion does not pass.
Okay, so we have a second motion, a second on the motion for Ms. Tyus. So can we please call the roll?
Madam Chair, may I just point out that we do have the support of Majority Leader Cumbo and Borough President Adams. And we are in this situation because DCP did not think that a neighborhood rezoning could pass during the current administration, which will end in January.
Thank you for the information. Can we have a roll call, please, on this motion?
Okay.
We can please restate the motion. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, who made?
Restate the motion. There's a lot of conversation. I just want to make sure we're clear on the second motion that we're voting on. That's all. Thank you.
And I need the name. I didn't hear who made the second.
Can you restate your motion, Ms.
Yes,
Tyus?
I'm asking, I'm moving that we ask the applicant to come back to the Land Use Committee with a revised proposal. Another way of saying that is to withdraw their application at this stage and to come back to the Community Board Land Use Committee with a revised proposal that would more faithfully adhere to the M-Crown resolution. And there was a second. I don't have the person's name. Ms. Neal, can you provide that name?
I second it, and this is Fiora Ortiz Joyner.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm just waiting for when I'm going to be ready to call the roll.
Please call it.
Okay, everyone is sure on what they're voting on? Yes? Oh, y'all can't see me. See
Roll
my
call,
thumbs up.
please. Thank
Okay.
you.
Kiermany Allison. Linda Andrews. Miss Andrews. Desmond Atkins. Lisa Atkinson.
Yes.
Princess Ben James. Julia Boyd.
No.
Gail Branch Muhammad.
Yes.
Was that a yes, Miss Muhammad?
Yes.
Thank you. Jerry Buchanan.
Yes.
John Buckholz. Nora Daniel. Miss Daniel.
I believe she's out of town.
Princess James said yes. She sent it in the message.
Okay.
Orange.
Diane Duke. Kevin Farley.
Yes.
Fred Frazier. Drew Gabriel.
Yes.
Tamika Gibbs.
Yes. Yes.
Najani Granville. Igenie Harris Blindman.
Yes.
Marva Henry.
Yes.
Zerzima Jordan.
No.
Regina Kinsey.
No.
Francis Langley,
Yes.
Sarah Lazar,
Yes.
Murray Lemaine.
Yes.
I'm sorry, was that a yes or an abstain?
That is a yes.
Thank you. Elaine Mahoney, Quasi Menza.
No.
Submit,
No.
Mr.
No.
Thank you. Calvis Mickelsteins, Elisa Nocenzo, Fior Ortiz Joyner,
Yes.
Robert Puka, Yaya Raji, Celine Rosado. Adam Sachs,
No.
Brian Saunders.
No.
Was that a no, Mr. Saunders?
Correct. No.
Thank you. Meredith Staten,
No.
Carmacia Superville, Audrey Tate Hall,
No.
Clark Thurton,
Yes.
Greg Todd,
Yes.
Ethel Tyus,
Yes.
Gib Viconi,
No.
Eves Billis, Kimberly Watson, Irsa Weatherspoon,
No.
Robert Witherwax,
No.
Deborah Young,
No. I want to change my vote. This is Gail Muhammad.
Yes, Ms. Muhammad, what would you like to change your vote to?
No.
Thank you. And scroll down. The motion passes 16 in favor, 13 opposed. I feel like there was an abstain in there somewhere, but there wasn't. Okay. 16 in favor, 13 opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Neal. Okay, so next up on the agenda is the board ratification of summer votes. At the July meeting of the SLA and Sidewalk Cafe Review Committee, members voted to support the following liquor license renewal applications. Morgan's BBQ and Elbow Room located at 267 Flatbush Avenue, seeking a full liquor license with recorded music, Sidewalk Cafe. Mimi's Diner, located at 657 Washington Avenue, seeking a full liquor license with a patio and deck. Amitieta, located at 732 Classen Avenue, seeking beer, wine, and cider license. No MOOs listed. Olmsted, located at 659 Vanderbilt Avenue, seeking full liquor license with recorded music, patio, deck, garden and grounds, and the Sidewalk Cafe. BK 99, located at 99 Rogers Avenue, seeking a full liquor license with recorded music. No other MOOs or outdoor space listed. Meat Cafe, 123 Kingston Avenue, seeking full liquor license. No MOOs listed. And also with the, at the Summer Land Use Committee, members voted to support the following. 1, the LPC application for 1180 Bergen Street to replace a gate that leads into a parking lot. LPC application for 280 Park Place for a new stoop, stair and entry door. Lastly, citywide initiatives, text amendments on fresh food stores, and health and fitness text amendment. Both committees are requesting that the full board ratify their actions per the CB8 bylaws that give them authority to speak on behalf of the board while the full board is on hiatus. I ask for a motion on the floor.
I move that we support the actions of the Land Use Committee and Slack over the summer.
Second.
Second.
Brian Saunders, second. And of course, Ms. Tice made the motion. Mr. Witherback, do you have a question?
I had a second that was a
Oh,
second
okay.
too late.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. Can we call the roll, Julia, please?
Absolutely. Okay. Carmany Allison, Linda Andrews, Miss Andrews, Desmond Atkins, Lisa Atkinson,
Yes.
Princess Ben James, Julia Boyd,
Yes.
Gail Branch Muhammad, Miss Muhammad, Jerry Buchanan,
Yes.
Nora Daniel, Aisha Dodson, Diane Duke, Kevin Farley,
Yes.
Fred Frazier, Drew Gabriel,
Yes.
Tamika Gibbs,
Yes.
Najani Granville, Jeannie Harris Blinman,
Yes.
Marva Henry,
Yes.
Zerzima Jordan,
Yes.
Regina Kinsey,
Yes.
Francis Langley,
Yes.
Sarah Lazar,
Yes.
Murray Lemaine,
Yes.
Elaine Mahoney, Quasi Menza,
No. Nope.
Calvis Mickelsteins, Elisa Nocenzo, Fior Ortiz Joyner,
Yes.
Robert Puka, Yaya Raji, Celine Rosado,
Yes.
Adam Sachs,
Yes.
Brian Saunders,
Yes.
Meredith Staten,
Yes.
Carmisha Superville, Audrey St. Hall,
Yes.
Mark Thurton,
Yes.
Greg Todd,
Yes.
Equitias,
Yes.
Gib Viconi,
Yes.
Eves Villas, Kimberly Watson, Irsa Weatherspoon,
Yes.
Robert Witherwax,
Yes.
Deborah Young, Miss Young,
Deb Young and Gail Branch Muhammad both said yes. They put it in the chat.
thank you. Vilma Zuniga. The motion passes 27 in favor, 1 opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Neal. I just want to remind everyone, excuse me, that the SLAC committee meets every first Monday of the month at 6:15 p.m. Okay, before we go to the committee reports, I just wanted to circle back to Ms. King. She is Executive Director of Anchor House, and she will be providing an update on their residential expansion project at 1041 Bergen Street. Anchor House is expanding 5 floors, which will add 20 additional beds to the men's addiction treatment facility. Ms. King, are you available to speak?
Yes, I am. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. I know the evening's far spent, so I will try as hard as I can to keep this as brief as I can. The background you see in back of me is actually our men's facility located on Bergen Street. Back in 2018, then Governor Cuomo, along with then Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul, who is chair of the opioid and heroin abuse task force, sanctioned a $4 million expansion of residential treatment in Bronx and Brooklyn.
Can you speak a little, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you speak a little bit louder? Just a little.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So back in 2018, then Governor Cuomo and then Lieutenant Kathy Hochul, I'm sorry, that's my son who's probably ready to go to bed, but put together a task force and they awarded $4 million across Brooklyn and the Bronx to see if they can expand access to residential services because of this just really horrific opioid epidemic. And Anchor House, under the as a provider of OASAS, Office of Alcohol and Substance Abuse Services, was awarded one of those contracts, and we were actually the only residential treatment program in Brooklyn awarded. Now, Anchor House has a longstanding history in Brooklyn. Our facility has been in Brooklyn for 54 years. And so at this point, when we look at the task force and all that they're doing and the support of the, at that time, Governor and now Governor Kathy Hochul, we have the support of them to go ahead and expand the services. And we just wanted to get the community board support. Brooklyn, Kings County itself is rising in overdose deaths. Back in 2019, there was a confirmed 288 deaths because of opioids. Now, when you look at the COVID-19 epidemic, the pandemic, along with the opioid and the substance use disorder, is rising. And so we're simply looking to the community board to get the support of the expansion, and we were able to relay that support to OASAS. And so in a nutshell, that's what I'm here for tonight.
Okay, I was under the impression that you were just coming for information as a point of notification. You were notifying
We
us.
are. We
Right,
did.
so
We
it's not-
want to notify and to make sure that everyone is aware. And yes, it is notification, but we 100% wanted to just make sure that everyone is, I mean, I know it's already been sanctioned by the governor, but yes, it is notification. And we just wanted to get the acknowledgement from the community board that it has been noted and on the table.
Okay, great. I guess Ms. Weatherspoon, we could take a few questions if there are any.
Okay. I see a thumbs up. Thank you, Mr. Todd.
Weatherspoon?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. King, for that presentation. Do we have any questions from the audience?
I see a thumb with Greg Todd. Greg Todd has his hand up.
Okay, so Mr. Todd and then Ms. Tyus.
No, I was just affirming my support of this program. I don't know if you know, but the Anchor House was supported by the Methodist Church, which
Yes.
I'm a member for some 70 years, telling my age. But yeah, it's definitely a program needed. They also have another program on Park Place, I believe, for women. It's
The women's
also a
facility,
Methodist
yes.
funded and supported entity and very well run, managed, and operation, I believe. And congratulations on your funding.
Thank you, Mr. Todd. We bought the same program. Thank you for bringing up Park Place. That program was expanded in 2004, and we brought that to the community board to inform, and there was full support in that expansion. So thank you so much for saying that.
Nothing, no comments. My hand was up in error. Sorry.
Oh, okay, no problem. Any more comments or questions for Ms. King? Okay, well, thank you again, Ms. King, for informing us with information. And thank you for attending and waiting.
you hear me?
Thank you. Ms. Granville?
Yes. Will there be any additional staff because of the 20 additional beds?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking that question. The governor has awarded us the money for the real estate as well as for additional staffing. There is a plan to break ground probably within the next maybe 9 to 10 months, but yes, there is funding available for at least 15 additional staff members.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
If we do require a letter of support or just acknowledgement at the meeting, is that possible?
Yes, I'll get that to you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, everyone, for allowing us to present.
So it's a letter of acknowledgement that we've been notified, not a letter of support.
Well, yes, they want to make sure that it's acknowledged because the Department of Mental Health and Hygiene always wants to make sure that the community board in the local area is aware of what's happening and there is no pushback.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you again so much. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks again. All right, so next we're winding down. We're coming up with our committee reports. So if we can have the Economic Development Committee, then the Education Committee speak, Education and Youth. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Saunders, the chair of the Economic Development Committee. Just want to give you a brief update. Over the summer, we did several projects where we did a walkthrough with the Madam Chair and others, just to get a feel of Utica Avenue and the needs and assessments of the merchants there. Economic development is a very important part of all the committees. It encompasses the youth, safety, seniors, and it's about the community. So it brings everything together. So there's been a lack of involvement in the committee, and what I'm looking for, and what I'm requesting is for you to think about what can you do to bring help, guidance, and advice to the Economic Development Committee. We're meeting next Tuesday, September 14th at 7 p.m. We've been knocked out of our slot by the Parks Committee, but I want you to come. I want you to bring new and fresh ideas, because this is important. The time of crisis, the pandemic, everything that's going on, we need the involvement of everyone, and we're gonna have fresh new ideas. This had this meeting on September 14th. I need everyone's involvement. Like the chair just said, we just can't just sit on the side or sit on the fence. We have to get involved, and we have to do something for our community. So, District Office drop that link in the chat so everyone can be aware. And email, look out for email as far as the link for Tuesday, and I look forward to seeing all of you there. So if not, bring a friend. Let's all get involved. Let's not sit on the sidelines. Let's work for our community. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you everyone for your time. I'm going to cut it short. Let's move on.
Thank you, Mr. Saunders. Will either Nora or Marva please speak? Thank you.
Yes, I'll be making the committee report for youth and education this week. Nora's out of our time zone, actually. We met this past Tuesday, September 7th. We had a good and very well attended meeting. And what we did was we went over our committee goals for the year. It was a collaborative effort. And so our first goal was to build relationships with the principals in schools. We'll be drafting a letter to send out to the principals and the parent coordinators at schools within our district so that we can reintroduce ourselves as the community board and just let them know that we are available to advocate for them if they have any needs that they think we can be helpful with. But just really opening the lines of communication again, that's a major goal of ours. Also, to develop relationships with parents and parent organizations. We've made a commitment to pay attention and attend the CEC meetings. I've already put together a schedule of the meetings that at least have already been scheduled, and we're going to be having volunteers from within our committee to regularly attend the CEC meetings. So it's not just one person, so that we have a presence, so that we can hear what's going on and report back to the committee as a whole. So that's a major thing. Ms. Ben James talked about our need to be aware of the chancellor's rules and regulations. So we're going to be making a concerted effort to pay attention to DOE rules and regulations and learn about them. Also attending the panels on educational policy meetings and reporting back. Ms. Ben James volunteered to attend that, as she's already been attending virtually and will continue to do so. We also remembered or recapped an event that we did in the spring. Youth and Education Committee put together our first series on careers in we focused on the music industry, what a career in the music industry can do for you. We worked our contacts and had panelists to talk to young people about their educational, professional, and personal experience in the music industry, and also to offer advice on how young people can be involved in the music industry. And so that's a panel that we would like to continue We're going to try and do it 3 times per academic year. Monthly was a bit much. So we're being more realistic about the time commitment that it takes to plan such an event. But we're definitely going to branch out into other areas of career for young people so that we can just let them know what else is out there and broaden their horizons. We're going to plan the spelling bee that was postponed during COVID. So hopefully we will be able to get the spelling bee off the ground this year, and also a Black History Month art contest for a wide range of students in the community, not just high school and middle schoolers, but even get the elementary school students involved as well. So we're looking to be active, make a wider relationship with parents and administrators in our districts. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much. Please remind us when your committee meets.
First Tuesday of the month
Okay.
at 6:15.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Henry. Okay. So we have EST, environment, sanitation, and transportation.
Well,
Mr. Widowax.
Thank you, Ms. Witherspoon. I just want to remind us all, not that we need it, just because we live in Prospect Heights and Crown Heights doesn't mean we don't get our feet wet. As Hurricane Ida definitely showed us, it doesn't matter if you live in the Heights, you can get just as much water in your basement as someone who lives down down in the low, right? That's what it's all about, right? That's one of our missions for this year is to help, going back to one of the questions that was raised earlier, Department of Environmental Protection, Department of Transportation, Department of Sanitation work on how we handle stormwater runoff, rain gardens, bioswales, right? Ms. Tyus mentioned it too. If you know a storm drain that is clogged, report it. Call 311, call the board office. Let them know that this is a spot that needs to be assessed and addressed. We've got an exciting agenda up for the year, but I wanted to lead off with that. We're going to be working on rats. We're going to be working on illegal dumping. We're going to be working on educating the public about sanitation protocols, about the rules of the road. We're going to be working on getting some of our bus service enhanced and increased. And we're going to be working on identifying which of our transit stations might benefit most from new elevators or reopened entrances, much like we had at Eastern Parkway last winter, a new elevator. If you want to help us out on any of those issues, come on out. We meet the 4th Tuesday of the month. It's late this month. It's going to be September the 28th. 6:15 is as good a time as any. So I hope you all show up. Thank you all very much. And Ms. Witherspoon, I have one more comment to make, Ms. Witherspoon. I apologize. I want to thank you for your service as co-chair, vice chair of the committee, and I understand you're taking other responsibilities more seriously than EST committee. So thank you for your service.
Thank you very much, Mr. Widowax. And with that, I want to announce your vice chair is Mark Thurton. So he's able-bodied to replace me. So thank you. All right, next up is Health and Human Services with Ms. Gibbs.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tanika. Most of you know me. I'm the chair of the Health Committee. Our meeting will be on the third Thursday, September 16th, 6:15. I ask everyone who cares about everything about you and the person next to you and outside of you, please attend our meetings. We're looking forward to working a lot with a couple of other committees we've been in contact with. I'm not sure my co-chair Kimberly Watson is online. I doubt it, but we have exciting exciting session coming up for the whole 2021-22 season. We try and do a separate part series like we did last year in reference to mental health, a lot with the children, adolescents with the COVID. So we're going to expand on that and do a couple of more things. So we need everybody to get involved. So I please invite everyone to please come out to our next meeting, which would be next Thursday, September 16th at 6:15. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next up is Housing, Ms. Najani Granville, please. Thank you. Ms. Granville,
Can you hear me?
clearly, thank you.
Okay. We met last night, and one of the topics that came up extendedly was the fact that we have a lot of flooding in our district. So even though we're in central Brooklyn, we still have problems with flooding. And there was some discussion as to whether or not there is actually flood insurance available. So that's something that we have to do a little more research into. One of the things that people talked about was the fact that they felt that all of this housing that's being built is taxing the current infrastructure. And when they put up the higher buildings, no one is considering the fact that you're putting a strain on the infrastructure as far as your sewers are concerned. And we know the sewers in this city are at least 100 to 200 years old. So it doesn't take much flooding to present a problem. One of the things we talked about is the fact that we're going to be inviting all of our elected officials to either come to the meeting, come to in quotation marks, since it's all virtual now, or have representatives come out. The reason is because we want to make sure that our elected officials understand what our concerns are. Sometimes they may spend so much time in Albany and Washington, they may not realize the problems that we're experiencing here in Brooklyn. And I was taught years ago that community board members are to be the eyes and ears of their elected officials. So we intend to take that very seriously. The other thing I wanted to mention is the fact that we last had a housing workshop prior to the pandemic. So this year we're going to try to have at least one, if not two. And the housing that we're interested in is the affordable housing for families and individuals. And we're also interested in making sure that small landlords get the resources and support they need to keep their buildings, especially in view of this pandemic, because we don't want anybody to lose their property if they don't have to. And if they don't get that type of help with the assistance that President Biden had promised, there will be a lot of people who will stand to lose their property. And we want to be a source of information to prevent that as much as possible. So we look forward to all of you coming out. We also look forward to reaching out to the housing developments in our area to have them to come to the meetings. At one point, we actually met in Albany houses, but we haven't had any direct interaction from our committee to the housing development since that time. So we intend to remedy that this year as well. So we look forward to everyone coming out. And we meet the second Wednesday of each month at 6:15.
6:15. Thank you so much, Ms. Granville. Next up is Parks. Linda Andrews.
Yeah, Glinda unfortunately had to leave. She's out of town. So
All right,
I'm gonna
Mr. Todd, please.
present on her behalf. And we have not met this month. We'll meet on the 14th at 6:15 and to review our goals and mission for the coming year. So if you want to come by, it's 6:15 as usual via WebEx, and the chair has the link. I should say the community board office has the link if you're interested in being at the meeting. The only thing we did talk briefly about, there's been apparently a bit of an uptick in crime in Brower Park. I know that's going to be something we'll be talking about. So if you've been affected by that or are concerned about that, by all means, plan on attending the meeting on the 14th. Okay, that's about it. Thank you.
And when do you meet?
Question?
On the 14th, but typically we meet on the first Tuesday with a couple exceptions,
Okay.
but
Thank-
typically the first Tuesday.
Okay, thank
May
you
I
so
ask a
much,
question? Madam Chair?
Mr. Todd. Next up,
Mr. Staten
Madam
has
Chair,
a
can I ask
question.
oh, Mr. Staten.
Are we getting any more park police? PEP
Well, I
officers?
spoke with Glinda last night a bit about that, and the NYPD apparently is going to be responsible for enforcement of, crime issues and security. The Park Police, according to the deputy commissioner, really, it's not their realm. They're more involved with, keeping order and cleanliness, et cetera, in the park, and not so much criminal activity. So we will hopefully be meeting with the 7-7 on this issue.
Thank you very much. Next up is public safety with Mark Thurton.
Hey, good day. It's Mark Thurton, Public Safety Chairperson. We have not met as of yet. Our next meeting will be on where we meet every fourth Monday of the month. Our next meeting will be on Monday, September the 27th at 6 p.m. and that will be done by WebEx. During the summer, unfortunately, we had increase in violence crime in the 77 precinct. But the precinct has been pretty active on it, but there's much more that's needed to be done. During the summer, we've been working with the SOS group, attended some events that they had going on with the youth. We also participated with the clergies, different marches that's been going on, trying to do anti-violence. And we also, during the summer, attended a few youth events to try to get the kids involved into different activities. But again, unfortunately, we did have a spike in violent crimes. But the Public Safety Committee, what we're going to be doing for this year, we're going to be doing, we're going to continue working with the youth and education, which is extremely important. We can not just reduce crime, we have to work with the youth to try to redirect them. So we're going to be definitely working with that. And with the Parks Department, as Greg Todd said, there is a concern in the parks. We have Broward Park and Lincoln Park. We're trying to get additional illumination in those parks in addition to the police, but we're trying to increase the lighting on that. And that's a DOT position where they're going to be changing the lights to the high intensity lights, and we're trying to get our parks moved up on the list. So because we do have an increase in violence in the area, so that's what we're going to be working with. Economics, we're working with the Economics Department committee because that's extremely important. Economics and public safety go together, the financial growth of our community. So we did a walkthrough during the summer with the Economics Committee on Utica Avenue, and we're looking to do that on Nostrand and on Kingston. Housing, I want to work with the housing. Definitely housing is a concern with safety, so we definitely want to work with the Housing Committee and with the Transportation Committee. Road safety is a public safety, so that's a concern with public safety also. So we're looking to join forces with these other committees to try to address the public safety within the Community Board 8 and within the 77th precinct. And I think that's about it. But our next meeting, as I mentioned, will be on September the 27th. That's a Monday. And please, crime affects everyone. So come on out and participate and voice your concerns, because if we don't say anything, the police is not going to do much on it, or they're just going to do enough. But we have to definitely come together and address our concerns to the precinct and to the higher authorities and let them be aware, and also to our politicians. We definitely need the political support. And I think that's about it.
Thank you, Mr. Thurton. Seniors Committee, Gail Muhammad.
Madam Chair, I'll be stepping in for Ms. Muhammad.
Wonderful. Wonderful, Ms. Kinsey. Thank you.
Okay, so we meet every first Wednesday of the month, and we met on September 1st. We spoke about planning for the months ahead in terms of what the senior committee or the seniors would like to see happen we are going to be focused more on health initiatives. Also, we're planning a continental breakfast at a neighborhood eatery in October. Coffee, tea, and maybe some scones or something of that nature, which that will help our local economy. Also, in commemoration of Happy Grandparents' Day, that's on September 12th. The committee and the seniors were cordially invited to a grandparents celebration at Durrell Health and Wellness Center at 1797 Pickens Avenue. That's on Monday, September 13th. And right now we're trying to see what seniors would like to join in the festivities and also maybe have transportation for them. So again, it's every first Wednesday of the month. And we're looking forward to having more people join our committee as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kinsey. And I just want to mention that we have a new committee, the Veterans Committee. And we like for all who are interested to please join. If you're interested, please make that known to the district office. I also ask all of you committee chairs, and thank you so much for all your work, what you're doing, what you're attempting to do. It's really wonderful to hear it. These are really full reports, and we ask that you send your reports to the district office so they can have that. Okay. Any old or new business, anything that's been left out, any notifications that we need to know at this time? No?
Madam Chair, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, my system's not working right. I can't access the chat. I can't
So
show myself
do you
on
have
camera.
an announcement?
But I just want to remind everyone, as Mr. Witherwax said earlier, do report to 311 when you see a clogged catch basin. Get that SR number and forward it to the board office. We have another month or 2 or 3 to go for hurricane season. And we may have a number of additional flooding incidences. So we take a picture of the catch basin that's clogged, get the which quadrant of the intersection it's on, file it with 311 online, get an SR number, and forward that to the board office with pictures if you have. For those of you who've had flooding, you file with your insurance company, and then you file with FEMA. Don't forget to file with FEMA. There's an office of restoration that is accepting FEMA applications. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator Bridgeport, did you have a comment, please?
Yeah, just real quick. Mayor's office is also recommending a website if you experience any flooding damage from Ida or in the future. It's I put it in the chat. I'm not sure if it went to everyone, but it's disasterassistance.gov.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that extra information. Okay, I just want to remind everyone to please look on the CB8 website. A lot of information there. And just be kept abreast of what's going on as much as you can. Our next meeting, our next board meeting will be on October the 14th, which is a Thursday, and that'll be at 6:15 via WebEx. So unless we have any other questions.
Yes, yes. Ms. Witherspoon, may I ask a question?
Sure.
My question is for Senator Bridgeport. I recall in your announcement, you spoke about an event coming up. And one of the topics, if I'm not mistaken, was an alternative to policing. I'm actually heard quite often this past year. 2 minutes ago, you heard about an increase in crime, shootings, muggings, murders. Please help me understand the logic of less police, which You're saying alternative means less policing. Explain the logic of less police in light of increased crime, please.
Yeah, no problem. I find police in general as a responsive force, not a preventative force. I think it's very rare that they've stopped a crime in progress, but I've seen many times communities ask them to be station places to prevent something from happening. So there are all other alternatives to preventative measures, such as increasing resources, things you've all heard of, seen before, increasing access to jobs in the area, more stable housing, more access to mental health supports. And our office has allocated around $75,000 to violence interrupter groups throughout the area in Brooklyn, credible messengers that can reach out to these communities and look to stop the violence before it starts. But we're
Senator,
having a longer conversation about it too.
if police are on the beat, they deter the crime. So I don't understand. See, this sounds like some type of floating out in space on reality. You have
Yeah,
more
sure.
police, you have less crime. Please don't wordsmith this with some philosophy, Senator.
Yeah,
Proposing does not directly deal with crimes. You're giving some type of philosophy. Sounds nice, but it's not real. It's not real.
Yeah, yeah, and I've spoken with some community members about this earlier. I also represent Bed-Stuy, and part of the conversations that we've been having is noting that even after there was a 1-year-old who was killed by a stray bullet last summer, and the community asked for police to be stationed right at the site of the murder. They were there day in, day out, and then really around the corner, like a block away, there was another fatal shooting a few months later. And we really need to have a conversation about what will actually prevent the shootings from happening. Stationing police on this corner, that corner, that's essentially playing whack-a-mole, and also, not a long-term strategy for preventing it. It's also worth acknowledging that gun violence spikes in certain communities and not others. And it is not wealthier and wider areas that are demanding that police are stationed on their corners to stop gun violence. And I think part of that is some of the resources that are more available in those communities than others.
Senator,
Can I
we
speak to
hope-
this really quickly? Not to cut anybody off. Because it's specifically to this
Chair is trying to speak, Ms. Weatherspoon, you're muted. You're muted.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Brisford, Major Doctor. That's how prophetic is that? But thank you very much, and thank you for your comments, Mr. Mensah. Our final question will be with Ms. Rosado, and then we're going to end the evening. Ms. Rosado?
Hi, everyone. My name is Celine Rosado, small business owner on Nostrand Avenue. And before we closed out, I was already going to speak to this point in particular with regard to violence and the uptick in violence and the role that the police, the community board members, and small businesses can play to prevent further crime. Prior to being the victim of a location that was subject to back-to-back crime that had never occurred in the 6 years of operation, we had never really had a connection with our precinct at all, because the way it goes is out of sight, out of mind. However, in becoming a lot more community oriented and getting a lot more acquainted with our local elected officials, our community board members, and our police officers, I would say collectively, we really have avoided a lot of the issues that had started and felt like we're never going to stop in, I think, maybe July. So thank God for these resources and this kind of pilot program that we put together, where we really, really we really, really connect one-on-one with our neighborhood community officers, our NCOs, where they speak to us and they ask us if we're okay, how we're doing, what the situation is, what we're going through, if there's been any type of a situation where we feel like we may need more help or less help, whatever the case is. I think more of the preventative measures doesn't necessarily have to be placing a car here, there, and everywhere, but providing more resources or where they can at least spend a lot more of their time talking to a lot more of the business owners and community members that have their foot on, you know, like their hand on the beat or whatever. They know what's going on, tenant associations, block association presidents, whatever it is, where somebody can really inform them of where the problems are, where they could be, and how we can work together to start more to prevent them rather than react to them. So in speaking to your point, Senator Bridgeport, we can be preventative. We really, really can. We have to put the resources in place and we have to put the programs in place and we have to talk to people who are willing to cooperate in pilot programs to see whether they work or they don't. And I would say that ours has worked. And thank you to Mark Durden and Brian Saunders for being so helpful in that regard for us. So thank you. That's all I have to say.
We can't hear you, Madam Chair. We can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now? Okay, that concludes our meeting. Thank you so much for participating and for being here. And we look forward to seeing you again on October 14th. Be safe, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.